Shalom. Allah start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Harak HaKadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone. Salutations to those for lit that's pushing this truth across four corners of the earth in all faith, truth, and sincerity. This Amawan Abad back again in the sitting. This we're going to about how these wicked Edomite doubles, these elites, these bankers, how they want to, get their wicked NWO agenda, get it put into get it put into motion, or get it going, get it established, right? But they're gonna run into a lot of problems in doing it, and it's not gonna be how they want it to be, what they had planned out. They think that they plan how they gonna go about executing it. It's gonna really work for them, but really they're gonna run into a lot of problems in doing that. So I'm getting to it. This song's 2-1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? So the heathen rage, we wicked Edomite devils, so-called white people, red people, the bankers, the elites, Esau Edom, they rage and trying to, come up, trying to get the, coming up with the NWO agenda, what they try to establish and push, right? Trying to get, set up, and they trying get their new order agenda, vision, trying to, get it going, they vain, wicked NWO agenda that isn't, it ain't gonna hold no weight, it ain't nothing, something that's gonna be fully grounded, it's gonna be, like I said, Lord Yahushua, he gonna return, and he gonna interrupt their NWO agenda, try to establish that, try to get, how they want to, but Lord Yahushua gonna return, and Lord Yahushua gonna return in the chariot suck off your foe, not let that fully go, not let the wicked NWO agenda fully be put in position in its fullness, right? We're gonna go to the next verse. Psalms 2 and 2. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh and against his anointing, saying, like I say, you had these bankers and the elites of Esau Edom. They be taking these councils. They have these councils, right? They have these meetings. How to, to get their new world order, agenda, going and push and have the people to accept it, or like I said, get rid of people that don't wanna, comply to their NWO agenda. And like I said, coming up against it, like I said, the Most High, they want to be like the Most High. They want to be like the wicked Esau Edomite doubles. They want to, they want to be like the Most High. They want to be the ones to control the people. Have full control of the people and so forth, and track and this and that, right? They want to be, like I say, they want to be like the Most High. They want to be, on top forever. But that ain't gonna happen. And they're trying to come against they're coming against the men of the Lord. They'll come up against the Lord's anointed, but it's not gonna work. Trying to stop the word, stop this truth, from being pushed out, but it's not gonna work. It ain't working, But on this verse, Psalms 2 and 3. Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. So these Edomite doubles, these so-called white people, red people, Edomite doubles that's in power. They're trying to get rid of, like I say, the truth. This word of the Lord. They're trying to get rid of the word of the Lord. They don't care about the ways of the Lord, how they want to establish their own way of how things should be and this and that. They don't want nothing to do with the true words of the Lord. That the apostles and the elders, brother Great Miss don't teach. That's why they want to get rid of this word, this truth. Because like I say, the word of the Lord, the Bible, is condemns the so-called white people, Esau, my doubles, and that's why they want to get rid of the word. They want to get rid of the, they want to come at them in the Lord that teach His word too. They want they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear you go into slavery and this and that. But I'll go from there. Next verse. Psalms 2 and 4. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord Yahweh shall have them in derision. So hey, the Lord Yahweh they're gonna be laughing at, gonna be laughing at these Edomite devils, man. Gonna have them in derision, mocking them. Hey, y'all trying to come up against me. You trying to come up, against my anointed. You try to establish your wicked NWO agenda. That ain't gonna work. You can try this and try, but you're gonna keep running into problems, we're gonna get that scripture in Job, but they're gonna be running into problems, man. Try to establish their NWO agenda, like I said, in the NWO agenda, is like I say, they're gonna collapse this financial system right now that we're in is gonna collapse, and like I said, they want to get push the micro C-hip, which is the mark of the beast, on people to on people so they could buy and sell, so they could track you. It's gonna be a new way of buying and selling. You gotta have the micro C-hip, so they want to have that micro C-hip, implanted in people so they could track you and like I say, be like the Most High, and have control of you, what you could do and say and this and that, but it ain't gonna work. So I'm going to Job. Say my man is too long. I'm going to Job 20. Oh, 20. Season 22. Yeah. So I'll go to Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. So in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. So, the Edomite devils, these bankers and so forth, these elites, in the fullness of sufficiency. So when when they try to, get their new order agenda, like I say, establish, and fully how they want to, but they're gonna be in straits though, trying to do it. They're gonna, we can go to the word straits right there. They're gonna be in a difficulty of trying to do that. Because reading on, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. So go to the word wicked right there. Let's go into that in Job 20:22. Oh shit. Hold up. I gotta set to that was songs. Oh, 20. So I'll go to that word right there. Wicked. So the word right there in Wicked and Job 22 is Amal. So I'm gonna play it.
Strong's H6001. A male. A male.
Amayo, excuse me, Amayo. So so it goes to laborer, sufferer, wretched one, uh, labor, workman, sufferer. So go back. So Abraham the wicked shall be come upon him. So you're gonna have those, like say, the ones that laborers, that's working and so forth, uh, for the so-called white man, Esau and my doubles, the ones that's in the bottom, they're gonna resist. They're gonna come upon resisting with the so-called the Edomite bankers. These elites, are trying to push with the NW agenda, that Marco C hip, right? Which is gonna be mandatory for you to buy and sell, but they're gonna run into problems and trying to, like I said, get that fully. You know what I'm saying? I like to take one bill, established so they could, have the people to take that Marco C hip, because you gonna have people revolting. Like I said, just the regular 9 to 5s, your average Joes or whatever, and people in the system, they're gonna run. They're gonna be like, even they own. Like, hell no, I ain't taking no Marco C help. You ain't putting that shit in me. And then you gonna have, I said, the ones, the regular 9 to 5 workers or whatever. They're gonna be revolting, right? They're gonna come against the government and so forth. So they're gonna be running to problems of trying to do that, man. Because they think, people just gonna be okay with, taking that Marco C hip, for to buy and sell. That's not gonna be the case, So they gonna run into the problems like that, and and they not gonna fully, it's not gonna fully go how they planned it. It's gonna backfire on them. But go from there. Job 20:23, when he's about to fill his belly, the Most High Yahweh shall cast the fear of his wrath upon him. He shall rain upon him while he is eating. So when it's eating my doubles, so-called white people, red people eating my doubles, trying to know when he's about to fill his belly. Go to the word belly right there, mind. So when these about the eating my doubles about to fill their mind or their NW agenda, Yahweh Shah, he gonna return in the chair, and Yahweh Shah gonna return in the chair, so-called your foe. He gonna be coming down, in UFO with laser beams, but then ultimately the thermonuclear missiles raining down upon the so-called white people, Esau in my devils here in America, Babylon the Great. Other countries gonna get hit with missiles as well, but not every country. But here in America, Babylon the Great, the missiles gonna come raining down. While he's eating, while he's sitting up, and then eating my devil. They sitting up, eating good, living good, whatever. Then boom, they gonna, that destruction comes by the Lord Yahweh Shah, and when he returns, the chariot, so-called your foe, and those missiles come raining down, But I'm gonna go to the next verse. Job 20:24, he shall flee from the iron weapon. The bow of steel shall strike him through. So like I say, the thermonuclear missiles, right? Like they're gonna be trying to flee and running from the wrath of Lord Yahweh B'Shem Shai, but they gonna get away. These elites, the bankers, they're gonna go in those bunkers. You're gonna have those, but they gonna still go into slavery. They still not gonna escape the wrath of judgment of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Shai. They gonna get pulled out of those bunkers, and they're gonna go into slavery, man. They not gonna get away, man. So I didn't want to make this too long. Hope this was edifying. So again, I like to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shah B'Hashem, Harakah Kadash, and again to the apostle elders, to the Sisakim brothers, to the Fiakawaf sisters, to do this and keep the faith, and Yahweh Shah keep fighting with that. I say shalom.